Hey everybody, welcome back to another movie review. Hope you guys have been enjoying the content on the channel as of late. Got a ton of reviews coming down the pipe, so hope you guys are enjoying some of the reviews that are up right now on the channel. To add to that collection of reviews, we're going to be talking about Reality, which is directed by Tina Satter. It was released through HBO, or sorry, Max, as I now call it, which I think is kind of a dumb name. Um, Distributed, done by HBO Films, and it tells the story of Reality Leigh Winner, who was a former American intelligence specialist, and she's having, what seems to be a fairly normal day until the FBI comes knocking on her door, and they conduct an interrogation. And through the interrogation, we come to find out that there's more to her than that she may be letting on. Um, and that is essentially what the film is. It's a hour and a half, even less than that, and it's all about this one interrogation sequence. And what's actually very unique about it is that the film actually uses, I'm not sure if it's completely accurate or not, that or exaggerating it a bit, um, but the film makes a point before the interrogation takes place that the um, the whole thing, the script wise, was plucked directly from transcripts from the actual recordings of said interrogation. Which I think, with that knowledge and the film bringing that, visually bringing that point up every so often, cutting back to that transcript and showing that, yeah, word for word they're saying those lines, I think gave it kind of an authentic feeling, which I think enhanced more of the tension that was brewing in the film and the anxiety that comes with being interrogated. I mean, I've personally never been through an interrogation, but I would have to imagine that it's a very, very tense and very anxious ordeal. Um, and that those feelings are present. I mean, I just was feeling very angsty watching the film, especially when there came points where she was, being a lot more closeted and a lot more isolated with these two figures that are asking her questions. But more to the point of the film is that when you come to find out more about what she did, which I mean it's fairly well known stuff. I mean, she leaked documents that may or may not have swayed the 2016 election, and there is a political undertone to it as well. Discussing more about the morality of what she did, and when you get to those points, the film makes a strange approach to somehow elicit sympathy for what she has done, and asking again the question of the morality of what she has done. When to me it's blatantly obvious what she did. I mean, it was completely against the law, and also it was not within her right to leak any of that information out. Um, so I don't really agree with the those kinds of lenses being put on our central figure. If anything, I think because there's the question that then lingers at the end of the film, which is that does she deserve to go to prison? Does she deserve the punishments that are awaiting her? And I think that it's, to me, again, obvious. Yes, of course she deserves all of her punishments because she thinks she was above the law. She thinks that, that she could have gotten away with it. She also thinks, she was acting on her own selfish interest, and also, inserting her own politics into that kind of thing. So, she was being led with her own belief system and not necessarily taking the weight of what her actions were. So I don't necessarily agree with that angle that the film takes, um, where we are supposed to sympathize with this character. I don't see where I would sympathize with this character. Um, for another, I also found another strange attitude that was presented in the film, which was this very subtle and suggestive point about toxicity within this whole situation that takes place. There's a point to the film where every person in this situation is a man. Every person in the film is a man, and they exaggerate that word at some points about guys and men and stuff like that. again alluding to this blatant idea of of toxic masculinity and how men might treat women and just how the attitudes of certain things. And then again, I just felt that that it depends on the perspective that can be that could that that might give that idea some merit, but from what the film is presenting and how it represents itself mostly, I feel that that idea of toxic masculinity is just kind of a moot point, because again, it doesn't factor into the reality of of the situation, which is that this is a person who chose to leak out these documents out of very selfish reasons, um, and and she deserves the punishments that were given to her. I have no sympathy for people like this. I have no sympathy for people who think that they're above the law, and they act out of their own interest, and they use these 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 politics or these other things to craft some kind of morality when really it's narcissistic and again just trying to compensate for their bad behaviors. Um, so I think that the film's own morality, its own, the way that it portrays certain ideas and characteristics, I feel are a bit questionable for me, and I think a bit counterproductive in terms of its overall progression. But in terms of a tone, in terms of performances, I think all the performances are great. I think all of them demonstrate, certain dynamics. Like I love the two FBI agents. They're just they're very calm but also aggressive, in their attitude. And with Sydney, I think that she really really captures the anxiety and the worry of her character very, I think, very well. I could tell that that she's hiding something, and that she's trying every corner, and in some ways you can kind of, and the film actually in some ways kind of suggests its own self, which is that it acts very much so like a courtroom drama where like there's at one point where a character says something about a pedestal or something like that, or a podium, sorry, podium, and when that came up, it kind of brought my thoughts to the surface, where I was like, yeah, that is ultimately what this film is. It's a courtroom drama, but being placed within the context of an interrogation. And I thought, thinking it in that way, and as I said, I do take issues with some of these suggestions and some of the moral sensibilities. Just how the fact that it wants to it wishes for us to sympathize with this character. I don't agree with that. Um, with that aside, I do think though it's still really authentically told. I think also really authentically performed. I think that it builds tension just really well, and I really appreciated the isolated approach to this kind of story. It's not a film that chooses to go to like multiple locations or do such and such. It's a film that takes place in one house with like maybe three people for most of the time, and it keeps it very tight, very restrained, and um, and it just feels really organized. It's not a film that's just saying a bunch of stuff and you just kind of get bored of all that saying certain things, whatever like that. It's a film that just builds and builds and builds, and you're just invested and interested. And it does, again, like I said, have some questionable sensibilities, and just how it portrays the character in certain lights, I do feel are a bit counterproductive. I still found myself really enjoying it. I found like I could have gone for another hour, to be honest. But for what it is, it's tight. It gets its point across really, kind of straight faced, and I I just thought it was just really enjoyable. I found myself really enthralled with it. Really, I just wish that some of its sensibilities I jived with a little more. I just really disagree with those ideas almost entirely, and that kind of kind of uh, took the wind out of what was essentially something really really investing. So, but for the most part, I really enjoyed it. Um, but you guys know your thoughts on reality. I think that again, there is a political discussion that can be had with this, and I will leave that to other people to to have. But as a film, I thought it was very well made. But you guys let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What you guys think of the film? What you guys think about the events of said film? And yeah, that's gonna be it for me, guys. Thank you guys for watching. I will have more reviews out pretty soon here, so be expecting a lot of reviews down the pipe. But until then, thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye.